Brought to you by Hula Frog. Local things for kids to do. HulaFrog.com.
Hello, and thanks for watching Illusionist Michael Howell Live. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Hula Frog. I'd also like to thank our guest sponsor, Macaroni Kids. Another special thanks to Williams Magic Shop, Mildred and Dildred, and Arizona Families. We're back to our normal episode. Last week's episode was a lot of fun with Benny James outside of the apartment complex. This week we're inside, guys, and we're going to start off with a magic trick. What I'm going to do here is I have lifesavers. You guys like lifesavers? I'm going to go ahead and open up a lifesaver. Okay, you guys can see it. It's good, huh? Lifesaver. I'm going to go ahead and swallow it. Now I have a piece of rope. I'm going to try put the rope right here and try to get the lifesaver. Oh, cool. To come through my neck. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, the lifesaver is now on the rope. Ta-da! Kids, don't try that at home. That is extremely dangerous. But thank you. Okay, guys. Oh yeah, supplies for each episode. If you go to illusionistmichaelhowell.com, click the Illusionist Michael Howell Live page, and the link will be at the top. Upcoming events, working on a bunch, but I haven't been able to get everything ready to announce. If you guys want to hire us, we do pop-up social distancing magic shows. That information is on our website. Okay, guys, now for our craft, we have a lot of different things. We have peanut butter, we have birdseed, we have scissors, and a lot of different things. We have shoelaces, we have cookie cutters, and construction paper. We have a butter knife, tape, and a Sharpie. So what you're gonna want to do, guys, take your cookie cutter, and our cookie cutter is a star, so make sure you outline the star on the paper, then cut it out. So then when you're done, you have star-shaped pieces of paper which will fit. So what I'm going to do is we're going to tape these on to the cookie cutter. So this is my own version. You guys, and you can get creative with this, but I'm going to tape that on. Oops, and I'm terrible with tape, evidently. So I'm just going to throw that piece over there. Okay, I'm going to tape, and you guys can sing, "Whistle while you work." That's a terrible whistle. I can't whistle. Can you guys whistle? Yeah, I bet you could whistle. My fiance just whistled. See, Jerica just whistled. So yeah, this is very just kind of time consuming. It's gonna take a little bit of time, but you know, that's what's so fun is we have time. It's summertime still. So yeah, so you're making sure you get that taped, okay? And then you have your second piece. So you're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Oh man, this is fun. So fun. Almost as fun as those boats we did last week, guys. That was pretty fun. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Made your own at home. Okay, now we're gonna get to the fun part after getting this taped. Now you can tape it any way you want. So now, look at that, guys. We have a 3-dimensional star. So then you're gonna take your butter knife. I'd use a butter knife with adult supervision, of course. And I'd lay something down. So I'd take some butter, peanut butter, and just spread the peanut butter onto the star, like so. See? Just like that. And then you're going to take the other side and spread the peanut butter, still keeping it as a star. So this is actually, we're putting this on here to put this, so the birdseed has something to stick to, and this is okay for the birds. So then, we got our star like that, and then we can dip our star, you have your bird seed, you can put it in a Ziploc bag, you dip the star into the Ziploc baggie of bird seed. Okay, guys, and what you have here is your personal bird feeder. Now, let's say you guys want to hang your bird feeder. What you can do is you can take your shoelace, an old shoelace or an old piece of string or rope. So, in this case, I have new shoelaces. And so we're going to use those. And you're going to take tape, because guess what, guys? I love me some tape. And you're going to tape the shoelace onto the bird feeder, like so. And then, depending on how long you want your bird feeder string to be, I don't think ours has to be that long, so I'm actually going to go ahead and cut it right here. Doesn't have to be too long, so that it'll hang like so. Uh-oh, and I put my piece of tape down on the construction paper. So then we're going to tape this here. Okay. And then put as much tape as you need, so then in the end, guys, you have yourself your very own bird feeder. Yay! That's a fun project. Make sure you have help from your parents, because it gets messy. All right, guys, this is the time of the episode where we're going to go magically into the TV and talk to our guest sponsored by Macaroni Kid, Kevin Johnson. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so excited. We have a very special guest today, Kevin Johnson. Oh my gosh, man, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, man.
Good.
So, man, I've seen you do so much. What got you into showbiz?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's about the last thing I thought I would be doing when I was growing up. Because I grew up, I was really, really shy, and I didn't like talking in public. I didn't like singing in public. I didn't like being seen, period. And so I had a school teacher, a high school teacher actually, who I had to take drama, and I didn't want to take drama class because I was too shy. So I just wanted to take art classes, and they told me, they said, we're out of art classes for a year. You're going to have to take drama. So thankfully I had a really amazing teacher, and she helped me with my shyness. And I have a lot of students that I work with now who are shy, so I totally have a lot of compassion for that. And so she had me work with puppets. And so if I had a puppet with me, for some reason I was able to not be as scared to be approached, in a way to where people could see me because they could see my puppet, and I could sort of live vicariously through that puppet. And then after puppets, I started getting into acting, realizing that if I had a character, I could sort of, like a puppeteer, I could hide behind that character and act and sing. I always sang since I could remember.
Wow.
And so that's sort of what started the whole thing.
That's awesome, man. I know my mom and dad are like, my family's been in showbiz for a very long time. And I got the pleasure of growing up going to my parents' like acting classes.
Right.
And what you just said right there with the puppets is a major key to help those that are really shy or having trouble kind of figuring out who they are as people. In fact, my mom uses puppets all the time in her acting classes. So that's great that it helped you as well. Another thing that I've noticed is lawyers and people of that nature taking acting as well,
right,
to help out with that. So that's cool, man.
They need to be convincing. And so basically I started getting into theater slowly. I was still pretty shy, but I was okay. And I had a friend who was auditioning for a tour of a Broadway musical, and I had a car and he didn't. So I drove him to the audition, and they asked me to audition while I was there. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. He was pretty mad at me because I got the role. And so I started touring, and so I did a lot of touring Broadway musicals for about 10 years.
Wow, that's awesome. It's
Yeah,
amazing how that works, because I know, like, with my family's theater, we've done the same thing where they're just bringing people along and they have had zero experience. And then all of a
right,
sudden, some of those people turn out to be so talented, they just never knew they had it in them. So
right,
it's a great outlet. Another thing that I really like about performing in theater arts is it gives people an outlet that are going through troubles, like that could be
right.
on the streets, getting into trouble.
Hmm.
That's what the Rose was all about when we started, is giving children and people an outlet to just express themselves, which is
Absolutely. And, I didn't, I was involved in an accident in theater, and I wasn't able to tour anymore because of insurance purposes for them. And so I had a friend tell me that I should get involved in teaching. And I said, I'm not a teacher. I didn't even like going to school. And so she set me up with a sample class, and I've been teaching now at the same school for over 20 years,
wow.
theater arts, drama, musical theater. And then, of course, I have my company, here in Tucson.
Right.
And so I really, like you said, being able to work with children and young adults is so fulfilling because, well, first of all, they're our future. And second of all, you and I both have this passion for the arts, but it's not just a passion, it's a compassion, meaning that the arts, theater can really, really help these young people form not only their own opinions on life, but strong opinions. And as far as education purposes and education resources, it's just such a great tool. And every year I see little Kevin Johnsons in my class who don't want to go up and they don't want to present. And man, does my heart go out for them?
But it's rewarding later on in
Yeah.
life when you see them and all the accomplishments they have made. I was at a U of A game one time, and I saw one of my magic students, because I taught at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton, and she was sitting behind me, and she goes, "Mr. Howell," and
Yeah.
to find out like how that class helped her and succeed, there's just nothing more magical than that, man. So you're doing good work, and we appreciate people like
It's
you.
great. Yeah, just this last year, I had a person who I worked with the first couple of years of my theater company, and he was in several of my shows. And until the COVID closed the production, he was playing the Phantom in New York and on Broadway in Phantom of the Opera, Ben Crawford. And I've had a lot of other students really, really go to other higher places in theater. But I think even more amazing than that are the kids who maybe they don't go on to a theater career, but they're happy with being able to present themselves in public, being confident and secure in their voice and their bodies and their mindset. And I think that's really one of the best things I love about teaching, and especially teaching in the arts.
Sorry about that. Did you hear that high in the background and the
I
sneezing?
did.
I have a macaw, and he decided he wanted to come outside with us during the interview. So
He wants an audition.
he does. Well, I don't know if you've seen him lately on Facebook, but
I
he's
have.
singing Up a Storm.
Yeah,
That
you
all
have
started.
several animals.
Yeah, I do. I have an animal rescue, and then I use them for animal education in schools and hospitals and all that.
And that's
But
terrific.
thank you so much, man. Yeah, it's funny because I was singing karaoke to him, like just singing in
Oh,
the house, and after that, he just can't stop singing. He sings.
how fun is that?
So eventually, I want to use them in my show. I'm working on. The one plus about this whole thing is it's given me an opportunity, and I'm sure a lot of other people, to take in new skills or come up with new things that they could use in the future for their business,
Right.
be successful. So out of singing and acting and all that, you're a producer as well. What is your favorite thing to do out of all of that?
That's a hard question, and I can't answer it. As I get older, I think I like directing and producing. Well, I like directing more. I never thought I'd be able to just because of my shyness. But once again, my actors are sort of my puppets, who I can, help mold and control. So I love directing. I like producing to a degree, but as I think you might know, it's really difficult to be able to pay bills and all this other stuff for producing. I know, I can see that face on yours. Yeah. It's really hard. I mean,
Yeah.
if a show closes and doesn't lose money, then that's considered a success. And so I don't think people get that. I mean, I know I have people who, work in film, and I have a student of mine, a former student of mine, who has done off-Broadway work, and and a couple of Broadway shows. And she was able to get a Taco Bell commercial about 6 months ago. And the commercial was 15 seconds. And she made more money in that 15-second spot than she has in 3 years working on theater. So you do theater, as you know, and as your whole family knows, because it's your passion, it's your love, and it's your heart. And I know when I first moved to Tucson, one of the first shows I saw was Tombstone. And I thought, wow, Tucson's got a great community in theater and an artist. And so that's when I thought, I think I might try this. So Thank you for that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Man, we have done that for so many years.
I know.
I started out playing a child in this show, a kid. And then I moved up to Billy. And then I played Morgan Earp the last couple of times we did that show. So
very cool.
I grew up with that show. It's pretty cool, man. What was you produced so many shows. What was your favorite show to produce as far as?
I think the one that gave me the most satisfaction as a director was when I directed and produced the musical Sweeney Todd. It was huge. It was a full orchestra of 20-something, and we had a cast of 40-something, and it was at the main stage of the Temple of Music and Art. And it was so exciting and so thrilling and so scary because there was so much at risk financially, and will people come see this show? And I was incredibly proud of that. But also, there are several smaller musicals that nobody's heard of that my heart goes out to, that I really love so much, that the people who do come to see it, whether it's 30 people in an audience, you might know, or 75, which is a great house. And I can tell that it changes them, and what we did makes them in some ways think differently, or maybe just brings different ideals of joy to them.
Right. Man, that's so cool. It was funny. I started thinking back to my producing experience. And so growing up in theater and stuff, I produced, my very first magic show was after I entered the International Brotherhood of Magicians competition. And these magicians have been doing it for 30 years. Yeah. And I'm 15, about to turn 16. I got second place in that competition. And I said, all right, Brandon, all right, Luke, I want to produce a magic show. You guys got to help me out. And so it was the very first thing I produced, and I'm a go-getter. I will just go for it, you know.
Yeah, I know.
And I produced the show. I appeared, I appeared backwards. I was supposed to appear towards the audience. I appeared away. When I appeared, there were 450 people in that audience.
Wow.
And for my first magic show, and I about had a heart attack on stage. I was like, wow, I'm so honored you guys all came here to see my very first production and, doing something in front of a live audience. But it was an honor. And then since then I've gone to produce things, and it's a struggle, man. Like, I've produced comedy shows, variety shows. I've been trying to help the screening room out as a really great place.
I know, yeah.
And I just saw that they were doing fundraising. I want to get involved in that as well, because
I saw that too.
They are a big part of my career getting started. I started doing downtown Saturday nights, and then the room said, hey, why don't you come in here? Because they couldn't have me doing street magic anymore, because the streets were getting there was hundreds of people watching my magic. And so they said, you need an indoor space. So I started doing that over there, and producing shows and trying to give artists an opportunity in Tucson, like the comedians and the variety talent, an opportunity. Because I honestly, if Tucson, we do pretty well working together, but if we could just pull a little closer, I feel like it would be so cool. And that's why I do the producing, is to kind of help everybody out. Because I know that without performing right now, and without, showbiz, my heart is kind of missing at the moment. So every time I get to videotape those web shows and I get to do it live, I come home and I can't sleep because I'm so happy. Where are you originally from? Because you're not originally.
Yeah, I was born in Houston.
Okay.
And then I moved, in my high school years, I moved to a really small farming town in Texas. And boy, was that a culture shock, big time. As if I weren't shy enough. They were all these cowboys, and I had to take all these classes I didn't want to take, in farming and 4-H and all this stuff. And boy, was I a duck out of water, or a fish out of water, or whatever. But I'm glad that I went through that, because I got to meet a lot of different type of people. I got a lot of different different ideals on life and what's important to people. And also on a sort of semi-actor selfish side, I got a lot of good character studies. You know, when I talk to my mom or my dad on the phone, I'm from Texas and I'm a fifth generation, and they all talk like this. And I'm like, well, Kevin, you still doing them skits and with your kids and stuff like that? I'm like, yeah, Dad, I am.
That's awesome.
And they're like, why don't you talk like us no more? And I'm like, because I'm an actor. I can't do musicals and tour with the Texan accent unless it's, you know, a couple of shows, very few that I probably wouldn't get cast for anyway.
That's a funny thing. You know, that's a funny thing about actors is you really need to know your type and
Right.
what characters you type out for. And
Yeah.
I think growing up as a performer, and thank God I had my parents to say, no, you're not right for that, is
Yeah.
a lot of people have a false sense of, you know, ideas of themselves that they could do
Right.
something they're just not right for. And it may not be their ability to act. It may just be, you know, something else. So, but yeah, so that's cool, man. And then I'm trying to find my last question, but I lost it here. Electronics. Okay. So we're in a crazy time. How are you going to keep
Yeah.
the arts alive through these times and this crazy world we're in?
Well, you know, yeah, of course we are. And just like you, I mean, I thrive on having an audience, whether my audience be in the actual theater or mainly in my classroom. It's funny because after I started teaching, I haven't done a lot of stage work myself as an actor, singer, and I realized, why do I not miss that so much? Although I would still like to do some shows. And I guess the answer is that I do perform every day. I teach right now. I've taught middle school, high school, elementary school, college, and right now I'm teaching grades 2, 3, and 4. I can't wait to get back to them in person. Right now, you know, we're doing it online, and it's obviously it's not the same. It's that interpersonal connection, you know, the bodily kinesthetics that work almost as a science as much as art, and then also that going into the emotional being of that student who is learning so many things about the world. And you know, I have kids every year come into my class saying, just like I said, I don't want to be in drama class. I don't want to be, I would rather do anything else than drama. And so I'm really sensitive to those kids because, boy, I know how it feels. But then my goal is to get them comfortable, whether it's with a puppet or whether it's with directing another student or whatever. So I miss that. And so, you know, this time of COVID, we try our best, what we can do. I'm doing a lot of writing right now, and I'm doing writing for students, scripts they can present online. And we did a musical called The Show Must Go Online in May with my fourth graders because they were supposed to be doing Seussical. We were in our big final rehearsals for the Burger Center, and we couldn't do it. And so we found this show that's online, and we were able to, you know, patch it together. I think Live Theater Workshop's also done that show.
Oh, that's cool.
And so it's better than nothing, but it's still you know, we miss it.
Yeah. And like teaching right now, like I tried teaching for Pima. I was actually teaching a high schooler group that takes classes over the summer at Pima to get college credits. So I was teaching like a business class and entrepreneurship class using my skills and like magic and singing and acting and all that. And I found it extremely difficult to connect and get that personal connection.
Yeah.
And especially with the kids that just wouldn't show their face. I was like, oh, show your face. And then they put their face on a banana. And
right.
Like, it was really difficult. So, and everybody, my brother's a school teacher. He teaches at Ironwood Ridge Media. So anyone that's doing that right now, like, you guys are amazing and we really appreciate it. So thank you so much for keeping the arts alive and doing what you do daily. Because without you guys, there would be no future. So,
well, and without you too and your family, you know, one of the things I wanted to share too was that since it can't be a direct connection with acting, one of the things I'm focusing on, I'm trying to, as we start this next school year, is if we don't have our face, if we don't have our body, we have our voice. And so I'm starting to study radio drama with my kids and radio comedies, which, you know, from 1920 to actually the early 1970s. I mean, people listen to radio shows, as you know, all day long, every day, comedies, dramas, westerns, talk shows, game shows. And it relied, the reality relied on their voice.
Right.
And the inflections in their voice and the determination and the believability of their voice. And so since I can't really see the kids necessarily, we're working on vocal inflections. We're working on stuff like that so that hopefully, first of all, it's fun. Radio drama is a lot of fun. Yeah. Drama meaning comedy, whatever, sound effects, all these other things. And it's sort of that suspension of disbelief, that we have. But also I'm hoping that when we all do get back into our classrooms, that hopefully my students and all students will have maybe a better grasp of how important their voice, their actual physical voice is as far as being an actor, because you can do all the things you can do with your face or your body, but if it's not believable in your voice, and that's one of the techniques that I teach, it's just not going to be a good performance.
I agree.
So what we do have is our voice, and they can't deny that, whether it's with a mask or whatever. We've got that going for us, and I think it's something we can work as an instrument.
I agree. One thing I did learn with the mask is when you're miking yourself, it goes like, ruh, ruh, ruh. So, but I grew up doing radio shows with my family. So the sound, I was a sound effects guy recently for one of the recent productions we did. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. Was it last Christmas? I don't know, but yeah, and it was really cool because I did like 3 or 4 different characters, and it was
nice.
All the different voices. And the one advice I have like to any actor that my mom and dad taught me was, like, if I'm trying to be sad or if I'm trying to find an emotion, I find something very close to me in my life, and I try to bring that emotion to the character. And again, that would affect how you talk and everything. So, man, this is so fascinating, and I wish we had more time. But thank you so much. It was an honor.
Absolutely.
To have you come on, and I still hope to work with you in the future.
You know what? I was thinking that just earlier too. Yeah.
So much.
One of these days, you guys have been an inspiration for me. And, obviously I've worked with Brandon and all the friends at Berger Performing Arts Center and other theaters in town too. And it as you know, it's a family. And we rely on family members, to help get us through. And so, like, even this conversation with you right now really has uplifted me. So I thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it uplifted me, man, and it's been an honor. So thank you so much. And if you guys want to find out more information about Kevin Johnson, where can they find out information?
You can go to arizonaonstage.org.
Okay.
And we have a production that's not kid-friendly right now. We've got some coming down the line, though. That's probably the best way.
Okay.
And so I look forward to. I want to do some more children's theater. I'm really excited and thrilled for Live Theater Workshop and their new venue and their wonderful outreach to kids. And it's just so inspiring for me as a teacher. And so I look forward to hopefully either, if I don't get to work with them, hopefully being able to help provide an audience for them with my students.
That's great, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on, and we'll be in touch, man. Take care.
Yeah, take care.
Thanks so much for coming on the show, Kevin Johnson. I'd also like to thank Macaroni Kid for being our guest sponsor. That segment made me think of Mr. Rogers. Great show. I loved that show as a kid. Now I'm going to read you guys a book. It's called Franklin's Class Trip. You guys ready? This is written by Sharon Jennings and illustrated by Brenda Clark. Franklin could count by twos and tie his shoes. He had gone to his class, to the bakery, the fire station, the pet store. Today, Franklin's class was going to the museum. Franklin was so excited that he could hardly eat his breakfast. Look at that. That's his breakfast right there. The museum had lots of steps and huge doors. Wow, it's big, said Franklin. It has to be, said Beaver. There are real dinosaurs inside. Ooh, real dinosaurs. Look at those illustrations, they're just beautiful. Beaver had been to the museum before. She knew everything about it. Big dinosaurs, she emphasizes. So big, they ate trees for breakfast. Franklin was afraid to ask what the dinosaurs had for lunch. I would be afraid to I wonder if they eat turtle. Ah, no, that's terrible. Okay. In the museum lobby, Mr. Owl went over the rules. No shouting, no running, and stay with the group. Mr. Owl said, Beaver, one more thing. Watch out for dinosaurs. Moose and Bear laughed. Ha 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 ha. Franklin didn't. He moved a little closer to Owl. So I think Franklin was a little scared. Their first stop was the Bat Cave. It was dark inside. Squeaks and squawks filled the air. What's that? Franklin asked. Beaver giggled. That's the sound the bats make to find their way around. Franklin was relieved that it was bats and not dinosaurs. Look at that, guys. There's Franklin. Okay, look at these. Uh-oh, so it's not bats. It wasn't dinosaurs, it was bats, guys. The class visited the rainforest next. Franklin climbed high into the treehouse. He could see tops of trees. Can you see any dinosaurs? The snail asked. Franklin shook his head and climbed down quickly. I think Franklin was a little afraid that he would run into some dinosaurs, guys. There was so much to do in this museum that Franklin almost forgot about the dinosaurs. In the medieval room, Franklin had fun dressing up like a knight. So he was in the medieval room, he's dressing up like a knight, guys. What? Franklin even got to dig in a sandy pit. He was the first one to find an arrowhead. Have you guys ever found an arrowhead? Arrowheads are cool. It was just like being a real archaeologist. Dun dun dun. The best part is still to come, said Beaver, as they sat down in the cafeteria. Yes, agreed Bear. Lunch! Mr. Owl smiled. I think Beaver means the dinosaur exhibit. Franklin gulped. I'm too tired to see more. I'll just stay here for a while, he muttered. Me too, said Snail. You'll forget about being tired when you see the dinosaurs, said Mr. Owl. Eat up and let's go. So that's them in the cafeteria. Reluctantly, Franklin and Snail followed. Giant footprints down the long, leafy corridor. There was a loud roar. The floor shook, and so did Franklin. Uh-oh, guys. Ah! Franklin screamed. Ah! Screamed Franklin when he turned the corner. He was looking right into a mouth of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And this is why my librarian had water every time she read us a book, guys. Wow. Franklin blinked. They're bones! Real dinosaur bones! But the dinosaurs aren't alive. Alive? Giggled Beaver. Of course not! There hasn't been live dinosaurs for millions of years. You make good jokes, Franklin. You sure do, whispered Snail. That's them looking at the dinosaur bones. He thought they were alive. As they were leaving, Franklin and his friends walked past the Egyptian exhibit. Next time, said Beaver, you should visit the tomb. There's mummies inside. Is it real? Said Franklin. Yes, and scary, said Beaver. But Franklin wasn't scared. He had a mummy at home. Uh-oh. And he could hardly wait to tell her all about his adventures at the museum. I think his mummy was his mommy. Oh, guys, that is such a good story. In fact, hold on, let me just see if I can find Franklin. Guys, look at that. That is Franklin, the desert tortoise. Everybody say hi, Franklin. I got him from a pet store in Tucson called Tropical Kingdom. Thanks to Tropical Kingdom for donating him to me. And now we get to use Franklin as an educational animal for the animal rescue. So that's pretty exciting, guys. So, guys, that was one of my favorite books growing up. I love to read the Franklin series. Another good series, if you guys are looking for a series of books, would be Clifford the Big Red Dog or Arthur. Maybe we'll read some of those in episodes to come, okay? So that was fun. Thanks so much for sitting there through that crazy story. Now I'm going to show you guys another magic trick. You guys have seen this before. I like doing this, but it's a little different every time. As you can see, the bag is inside out. I'm going to go ahead and punch through the bag. Jerica's going to zip the bag. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Waving my hands magically over the bag. Let's see what's in there. Could it be another Franklin? Oh, guys, look at that. This is a bearded dragon. Dun, dun, dun. And this is Lizzie. Everybody say hi, Lizzie. All right, bye, Lizzie. All right, I have an animal rescue called Rose Ranch Animal Rescue. We have farm animals and exotic animals. It's been around for quite a while. We are actually going to be moving soon. So to help with that move, we're going to need some funding. You can go to illusionistmichaelhowell.com, click the Illusionist Michael Howell page. On there is the GoFundMe link. And then you could also buy a t-shirt for $45, and 100% of that goes to Rose Ranch Animal Rescue. Okay, guys, well, thank you so much for watching. It's been a fun show. Next week, we have comedian Monte Benjamin. And speaking of comedian, I need to tell my jokes. He's a real comedian, but I like to pretend. Jerica, why don't you come on screen? Almost forgot, guys. Changed it up last week, so I'm kind of out of practice. Here we go. Jerica, what did the duct tape say to the masking tape? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, why was the weightlifter frustrated?
Why was the weightlifter frustrated?
He was surrounded by dumbbells. Oh, that's terrible. Okay, how does a cucumber become a pickle?
How does a cucumber become a pickle?
He goes through a jarring experience. I sounded like Barney saying that. Okay, here we go. Why did the scuba divers laugh when they got near a coral reef?
Why did the scuba divers laugh when they got near a coral reef?
Because they saw a clownfish. Oh! All right, last but not least, why did the melon jump into the lake?
Why did the melon jump into the lake?
Because she wanted to be a watermelon! Woo! All right, guys, thanks so much for watching Illusionist Michael Howell Live. Next week's guest, again, is comedian Monte Benjamin. Have a nice day.